and welcome everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather, where we look at all the data so you don't have to. First, we're looking at the sun here in 171 angstroms, and I be your host, Dan, aka smAsho. We see an increase in the solar wind density. We're going to talk Blazar Jets. We're going to talk able something or other. I don't want to say the wrong number. This is a 48-hour view from the SDO. You can see some filamentary activity up there in the northeast. Next, looking at the fields here on HelioViewer to see there is not a lot of magnetic organization happening. That active region up there is not a sunspot. Here's a 304 angstroms view. And here's a composite. It's like a sun-kissed sun. The sun-kissed sun. Here's a 304 angstroms 48-hour view from SDO. You see that large filament? Looks like it collapsed back onto the chromosphere up there in the northeast. KP index is now at 1, coming off of its lows of 0 about 12 hours ago. 10.7 centimeter radial flux is still at 68. Now headed to the planetstoday.com. Here's where objects are in the solar system. There's where things will be in a week, as Venus is about to move in between Earth and Sun. And Earth is creeping up on Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which you can see, by the way, if you've got a clear sky. If you're up before dawn, you should see the Moon and Jupiter and Saturn and Mars all up there near the ecliptic. GOES X-ray flux is pretty flatlined here. No surprises there, as we don't really see any significant activity on the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. And the proton flux also flatlined. No surprise there. And let's talk about cosmology briefly, as we regularly cover cosmology segments, and we haven't been doing any of the specific videos because we've just been too busy with covidiocy and covidiots to be able to really produce all the content that we'd like to produce. So, we see a neutrino-emitting Blazar jet here. It's TXS0506 plus 56. And understanding Blazar Jets is kind of important, folks. So you can see the evolution of this Blazar jet here. And a blazar is a type of active galactic nuclei where the poloidal Z field is aimed right toward you, the viewer, here at Earth. And so these emissions are kind of important, as these are among the brightest objects we see in the universe. Blazars, again, active galactic nuclei with the galactic jets pointing directly toward the viewer. Now, this particular one is believed to be a little over 5 billion light years away, I think. And there were some extremely high emissions back in 2019. We'll show you in a minute. Yeah, this one's believed to be 5.75 billion light years away. And so we see a whole range of different frequency photons showing up here in the jet. So everything from neutrinos to visible light to gamma ray and everything in between, as the relativistic jets are aimed directly at Earth. So it's an interesting scenario to be able to study relativistic plasma processes, magnetic field dynamics, and black hole physics, otherwise known as massive radio source physics. So perhaps read this article. It's on phys.org in the Astronomy and Space section. The study found the Blazar's jet structure showcases a helical trajectory originating in growing instabilities with a processing period of 5 to 6 years. And I'm just going to slowly scroll down here. You can read the article without even ever going to phys.org, just viewing our video. If you want to look at the transients for Blazar TXS0506 plus 056, just head to the Neil Gorell Swift Bat telescope the Burst Alert Telescope X-ray Transient Monitor Observatory. If you type in Neil Gorell Swift Observatory, you'll find it. And just type in 0506 and you'll find it right away. Here you can see these big time outbursts happening about 1 year ago. So we see these big outbursts where it reached 0.07. And it's currently around its baseline of 0. So, again, if you want to follow that, just head to the Neil Gorell Swift Bat Observatory. And while we're here, let's look at a couple other transients. Sagittarius A star. That's the ultra-massive radio source at the core of the Milky Way galaxy. There are the transients from that. I would note that it has upticked in the past few years, from around 2013 till present. And we're going to also look at Cygnus X3, massive X-ray binary, a little closer to home, believed to be between 4 and 20,000 light years away. This high-mass X-ray binary has its jet affixed directly toward us, the viewer, and you can see it's come out of its quiescent state here, as it is currently, it's around 0.02, and so it's actually dropped down a bit in the past couple days there. Something to keep an eye on. One of the most likely cosmic ray sources, as far as point sources, massive X-ray binary Cygnus X3. Let's talk about Able 2384, which has a massive X-ray bridge believed to have a mass of trillions of suns. We're talking about this region right here. And these poloidal fields coming out of this massive radio source, located where this green plus sign is, are extremely bent. And the belief is that this is a galaxy here, and this is a galaxy here, and we believe that these are in the process of merging right now. They've probably swung past each other a few times, like a pendulum, kind of, if that makes sense. And so this is the Chandra X-ray imaging here, and then here you can see radio emissions also, and you can see the odd curved shape of these radio lobes. This looks like the poloidal field here. We'll call it the south pole of the massive radio source. And this is the north pole of the massive radio source, it looks like, and you can see how distorted those cone-shaped plumes of material are there. So this one is on phys.org also. It's in the Astronomy and Space section. Able 2384, bending the bridge. And it's a massive bridge between two galaxy clusters. And let's go to the Family Feud question of the day. Cosmic phenomenon are entirely governed by the gravitational force. Survey said... Oh, man. I keep getting these wrong like every day. Now, if you'd like to understand a little more about cosmic poloidal fields versus cosmic toroidal fields, head to our playlists. It's at youtube.com/smAsho. If you click on playlists, you'll get this screen here. Come down to cosmology segment, click on view full playlist. Scroll down until you see this video, cosmology segment special, toroidal versus poloidal fields.
There is a bit of a...
And then you'll see an advertisement, I guess, because the video must be monetized. So we're about to celebrate that. And
easy to find a larvae.
Let me play a clip, if we can get through this ad. Anyway, we spend plenty of time talking about toroidal versus poloidal fields.
Illustrated here is the blue arrow, and poloidal motion is the red arrow.
Anyway, watch that video if you haven't. Toroidal versus poloidal fields. It's super important to understand in astronomy and cosmology. Let's get back to data, and we see this ramping up of the solar wind density, currently up to 13.2 protons per cubic centimeter. We see some fleeting magnetic connections that look like coronal hole magnetic connections, and we do see some coronal holes facing Earth. We'll show you at the end of the video, the 193 angstrom view. Current solar wind speed 314, so very low solar wind speed, pretty decent increase in density there. And so we're looking at the density here on the magnetosphere movies, and you can see the way the bow shock region is much more compressed when we see this high density solar wind. And I would note the high density is shown here in dark blue, low density shown in white. And you can get some sort of a guess of what the solar wind will be just by looking at this magnetosphere data. Anyway, there's 4 hours of density. Here's 4 hours of pressure. And it's pretty steady right now, as we haven't seen any wild swings. Just a gradual increase in the density and a fairly steady low solar wind speed. Next, we're going to look at geospace ground magnetic perturbations, of which there aren't very many, but we show the data anyway every day, because that's how you learn things, folks. You immerse yourself in the data. If you'd like to gain insight into things you don't understand, immerse yourself in the data, and you may find yourself understanding them. Anyway, we've got 2 North Poles right now, one over Siberia, one over northern Canada. South Pole has crept into the southern Indian Ocean, south of Australia. And we don't see a lot of induced magnetic currents there. We won't get into the physics of it. We'll just move on to the GOES magnetometer. Now, keep in mind, this is measured at the F2 ionosphere layer, or as close as those satellites can get. GOES 15 has been offline for weeks. And there you can see the GOES 16, and we are currently solidly in the South Pole oriented portion of the current sheet once again, and you can see it here shown in red. Keep in mind the data is 1 hour and 53 minutes old, can change at any moment, as the magnetic environment often does not give any warning and suddenly just changes. This is how sunspots suddenly appear and vanish. And as we forecasted 2 days ago, that North Pole portion shown there in green has closed back up. No surprise there, as all the activity we see is largely on the north portion, north of the solar equator. And let's look at the line of sight field plot, and you can see not a lot going on there. This is the ecliptic plane top view, and this is the line of sight field plot showing the B field, which is the toroidal field on which you live. In blue, the B field, which is, by the way, represented on the solar wind data as the BT. Next, looking at the relativistic electrons, and we see very, very low levels of relativistic electrons, and electrons in general. Total electron content forecast, very, very low. Shockingly low levels of electron flux. And once again, we're going to see this stay low as we've seen this uptick in the solar wind density. This is what you call a proton light situation. That's what I call a proton light situation. You can call it whatever you want. You can call me late for supper if you like. Anyway, there's the data from the GOES 16. And this also attempts to measure the electron flux right at the ionosphere boundary. Next, looking at the ionosphere, here's 6 hours of data, courtesy Bureau of Meteorology of Australia. And we're looking a little bit anomalous here on the nighttime side, as we've seen for a few days. Nothing too crazy, though. Some big charge downs there in the nighttime portion, especially in the southern hemisphere, as winter approaches in the southern hemisphere. Anyway, the last image there at 8:15 UT looking pretty normal. Here are the pressure cells on planet Earth. We're letting this advance until about tomorrow around noon via the GFS forecast. And there's where we expect things to be at noon. It looks like it's going to be a clear day tomorrow. And a little consumer tip, folks, if you've got one of these dry air masses, like this one here, which is an anticyclone above you, expect to have clear skies. And that's today's meteorology tip. Next, looking at earthquakes, we see a bunch of shallow quakes. We'll get to it in a minute. First, a deep quake near Vostok, Russia, not to be confused with Lake Vostok, Antarctica. There's that quake south of the Kamchatka Peninsula. It's a 4.4 magnitude at 315 kilometers depth. Next, the Filipino quake It's a 4.5 magnitude at 109 kilometers depth. Followed only about a half an hour later by a 4.4 at Bolivia at 247 kilometers. And here we see some shallow quakes. So let's take a look at this one. This one is 1,000 meters above sea level, a 3.5 magnitude near Bodie, California. And we've seen many, many quakes in this area east of Mono Lake. Anyway, there's the location of that. And let me get back to the list here, as there are a bunch of shallow quakes on it, including some in Hawaii. So there's another shallow quake. And just scrolling up the list here, here's another deep quake at western South America there, that one located in Chile. Pretty close to the last one we reported in western South America. Some quakes kicking off in Hawaii. Quite a few, actually. All fairly small magnitudes and at varying depths. Just scrolling up the list here. So a bunch of quakes, no big ones, nothing even at a 5 magnitude. Now we don't see any ultra shallow quakes at Hawaii yet. There's one. It's a 2.7 at 300 meters above sea level. So there's that one. And that quake having occurred in the ocean must be the exhaust from a spaceship. What say you? How the heck do you have a 300 meter above sea level quake over the ocean? I don't get it. How could that be? Sounds like nonsense. Here's another deep quake at Indonesia. It's a 4.6 magnitude at 168.9 kilometers. And last but not least, just before we started show prep, a 4.4 at Colombia at depth, 164.6 kilometers depth. And let's move on to volcanoes. Today's list includes Mount Abico, flight level 10,000 there. It looks like Mount Aso, flight level 6,000 there. Mount Ibu, flight level 7,000 there. Semeru exploding. Once again, 14,000 foot ash plume there. Popocatépetl, no volcanic ash observed in satellite. Sangay, exploding. 5,000 foot plume of ash there. Revenador, volcanic ash clouds have dissipated. And Sabancaya exploding, producing sporadic puffs. And a 25,000 foot ash plume is an indication not to attempt to do the Fosbury flop over the Peruvian caldera. And now we've moved on to the spooky, spooky, scary, scary, spooky section about COVID-19. What are you doing on lockdown? Do you do things like me, like read the dictionary? Now, when I was a kid, I used to read the dictionary and look up the definitions of things like pee-pees and wee-wees, to quote somebody on Seinfeld. What was that? Inspector Bookman? Anyway, today's word is
flotsam,
which is the floating wreckage of a ship or its cargo, a floating population of immigrants and castaways, or miscellaneous or unimportant material. How about this? There is a lot of
flotsam
on YouTube. Do you listen to Flotsam and Jetsam? Well, I like to read dictionaries, so once again, here's another definition. Jetsam, the part of a ship, its equipment, or its cargo that's cast overboard to lighten the load in time of distress that sinks or is washed ashore. Flotsam and Jetsam, a pretty crappy band from the 1980s. We won't be doing any covers from them, but we may be doing some covers. So drop me a line as we're looking to do a bunch of remote musical collaborations. I haven't hooked up the DR770 yet, but I will. One of the songs we're considering doing a cover of is Pets by Porno for Pyros. Please let us know in the comments section, Mr. Keebler, if it translates well to ukulele. We are not adverse to doing it in a different key if it helps you. Maybe Martians could do better than we've done. Please take a moment to press like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already, if you enjoy the content. We greatly appreciate your patronage. We've got our links on the page here also, a couple of them. smAshomash.org, for instance. Thanks to our new subscribers, contributors, the Smash team, etc. We have not forgotten about the 150 subscriber spectacular BitChute special. And we're getting many, many hundreds more views over there per day than we get on YouTube. So look for more exclusives coming to BitChute. And we are looking to go full time as soon as possible. We just have to replace, let's just say, a little more income per month. We're also on Twitter, and thanks to our new Twitter followers, we appreciate that. Our Instagram posts tend to go up there onto Twitter also. And Smash staff, who, by the way, receives 25% of our Patreon proceeds, needs a raise. So please consider supporting the channel via Patreon or perhaps Subscribestar. As again, Smash staff needs a raise. One of the things you may like to do while you're locked down because the government said you must be is to look up economics, right? Maybe it's a good time to learn how to trade stocks or learn about commodities. Now, I'm not a believer in cryptocurrency. I don't believe it stores any value. I don't think the blockchain has value, period. Bitcoin has just come off of its rally. It experienced some major support here, some major upward resistance at 10,000 per coin. Current price 87.41 as reported by Coinbase. We're also going to look at Ethereum here on Coinbase. And the only reason I use Coinbase Exchange to show this in the videos, folks, is because I trade on Coinbase. If you'd like to try cryptocurrency trading, visit the links below the video. We've got a link that'll earn you $10 free in Bitcoin just for signing up using our link. There's also all kinds of other free offers on there. Coinbase, you've got all kinds of offers to earn free crypto just by learning about what it is. It's cheap enough that they're giving it away in some cases. Anyway, there's the chart for Ethereum. This is the second largest cryptocurrency after Bitcoin. And the market cap for this is, well, I have no idea. But it's not as big as Bitcoin. And let's look at some other stuff here. We're just going to scroll down CNBC's markets page. Get that stupid quote finder off my screen, please. There we go. All right, so let's just see what happened yesterday. The Dow was down 109 points. NASDAQ was up 71 points. There are the market movers up and down. Under Armour getting hit. Cardinal Health and other biotech type companies going up. It looks like a bunch of bond purchasing happening as inflation kicks in. What a surprise there. Gold up to 1707 per ounce. And it's been seeing some upward resistance here at I don't know. It's not tracking right, and I don't really care. Anyway, there's the chart of gold, not too far off of its highs at $1,707.60 an ounce. Let's check silver. For some reason, this stupid, idiotic website just scrolls on its own. Here's the silver situation. Please leave a comment if you remember when we were telling you to buy silver at less than $12 an ounce back here. I know there's a shortage. There's a shortage. Anyway, the current silver price, $15.78 an ounce. Ugh. I love web pages that scroll by themselves. Isn't that great? And let's just look at oil also here before we get off of this Comcast-owned organization known as CNBC. There's the current situation with oil. Off of its lows, which were negative $45 a barrel. I don't know why I have another window open. It's all good. Anyway, check us out on minds.com/smAshomash as well. The future of social media, unlike Facebook, where you won't get censored or shadow banned or have your content throttled. Let's see where our views are. We're approaching 700,000 views and only 737 subscribers, folks. So if you don't have an account over there at Minds, I highly recommend you try it. Be part of the future. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. As we assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, check out smAshomash.org. There's a bunch of links, as well as links to the forum. If you haven't checked out the forum yet, here's what's going on over there. We've got an extensive coronavirus section, now over 29 pages long. So tons of information dating all the way back to January 23rd. If you'd like to construct a timeline of what's been going on, head to smAshomash.com/forum, and in the free-for-all forum, there is this lengthy thread. Make sure you get your vitamin D, folks, whether it's from sunlight or supplementation. It's kind of good for you. We've started a petition, by the way, to recall Pennsylvania governor, and that link is on there. Thanks for posting, Mary. Governor Tom Wolf now crying about certain counties deciding to open despite his overreaching executive fiat order to stay closed. And for that, we applaud those counties. Lancaster is among the counties, and we wish Lehigh was among the counties. That's where I'm located, in the Lehigh Valley, Lehigh County. So applaud Lancaster as well. Well done, Lancaster. Way to defy a completely tyrannical order that has nothing to do with the emergency powers of the slimy, putrid governor. So let's sign the petition, folks. Whether you're on Facebook or you're on Minds, it appears in all those spots. It's on our Twitter, and it's in the forum. So we need your signatures. Please sign, as we would like to get rid of the governor a little bit early and send him out the right way with a kick in the you-know-what, along with his staff, which includes former NCAA linebacker Dr. Rachel Levine. Now, we are also on Locals, so if you check out smashomash.locals.com, this is Dave Rubin's new site, and I think this has got great potential also to replace some social media nonsense sites. One of the communities that we've joined here is verboten.locals.com, and it's nothing controversial, folks. It's just an online browser-based point-and-click, symbolically graphic literary game. If you want to check that out, it's located at verboten.ca, and I just kind of loaded it up to give myself an idea of what it is. It's the story of a diabolical production engine hidden within a puzzle to protect the world. Can you find your way into the Verboten Advanced Production Park? Do you dare? So I don't really know what it's about. I might check it out later if I have time, which I doubt I will, because of such levels of covidiocy wasting my life. Anyway, we're also on Facebook. I don't feel like waiting. Let's get rid of Governor's top covidiot now instead of at the end of his final term. Let's send him off right with a kick in the you-know-what for his efforts to protect. If the cure is deadlier than the disease, throw the cure in the trash next to Governor Tom Wolf and his staff. Completely ineffective covidiots. So anyway, it's on change.org. Please consider signing and sharing on your social media, as we would like to get rid of Tom Wolf a little bit early. Now, to quote Rambo, well, you get the idea. I was going to wear this to work, but I don't have the suit, so, yeah. Death to covidiocy. Please leave a comment if you're going out in public dressed like this. Perhaps don't bring the airsoft gun with you. You look even dumber. And by the way, I ordered an elastomeric mask yesterday, with which I already have cartridges for. So, yeah, apparently you can buy personal protective equipment now, although it's not going to protect you from these gargantuan covidiots. Another thing you could do when you're locked down is you could listen to our original music. We've got a bunch of stuff charted once again. Gem Cutters, number 40 on the charts. Unified Theory was up to in the top 100. Molybdenum 99. Shout out to Smash staff. Here's a clip. Molybdenum 99 was a song written for the girlfriend, a.k.a. Smash staff, a.k.a. Molybdi. I named the track after an isotopic state of molybdenum. So go have a listen on that one. Let's get it into the top 20. Molybdenum 99. And yeah, if you think they're science-based names for a bunch of this stuff, they're totally science-based names. I've been a science nerd since before entering kindergarten. Check out the anticyclone right over the geographic North Pole. That is a powerful anticyclone. Jeez. That is a very powerful anticyclone right there. Let's look at the jets. Here are the jet streams of the western world. Very concentrated over the North Atlantic. Check out the wind speeds there. 231 kilometers per hour. Here are the jets of the eastern world. Doubled up, tripled up, quadrupled up jets over the southern hemisphere. And let's move into value-added services. Here are the water vapor maps for Europe and Africa. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. Lightning maps. It's lightningmaps.org. We were trying to use it last night as we got some lightning and thunder before we took those Instagram photos. Mainly Central America has been getting hit for 3 days with lightning around this time of day. And please leave us a comment if you're located someplace besides in the U.S. If you're viewing the video from a different multiverse, universe, galaxy, solar system, spacecraft, planet, satellite, etc. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar, and we still see snow falling over western Pennsylvania. It's May 12th, and it's still snowing. Apparently, the planet is so hot that it's cold. As we see 2 standard deviations above the normal 30-year snowfall average for 3 winters in a row, and the media is going to tell you that it's so cold because it's so hot. Apparently, temperature goes in a circle. If you get hot enough, it gets cold again. I wasn't aware of that. Please leave a comment if you view Tony Heller's videos. So here's the U.S. water vapor map. And we're expecting some warmer temperatures here in Pennsylvania coming up over the next few days. And let's go look at this area out here near Oregon for once. Looks like a pretty strong low pressure system there off the coast of Oregon. Counterclockwise rotation, a sure indication. And again, thanks to our patrons, the real source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron. We've only got 2 tiers there. And thanks to our patrons for being assistant and associate producers, depending on what tier you're in, if it's the intro or the gold tier. Thanks to our subscribe stars. Thanks to the Smash team. Please leave a comment. Please share the content on your social media. Press like and subscribe on YouTube, etc. Leave us a comment if you're on BitChute, wherever you're located, wherever you're viewing it. Leave us a comment. Connect with us on social media. Send us an email if there's something you'd like us to cover. We see 0 sunspots. Here's the intensitygram showing that. Here's the colorized magnetogram. And again, the only area of significant magnetic organization is up here, and it's not particularly active region. And last but not least, we'll show you the 193 angstroms view as promised. This is 48 hours. And we've got some coronal holes here around the equator as well as south of the equator. Anyway, we are out. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, stare at the sun. Don't drink. If you do drink, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back.